Hi, I'm Nikki.
And I'm Megan.
Welcome to the Grimdark Diaries.
We're your geek gal pals obsessed with true crime and all things dark and disturbing.
Hi, hello, everybody. Welcome back. Megan, I thought I had COVID this week.
What?
I know I didn't tell
This
you.
is news to me. What happened?
Well, I had a game on Sunday, a Thunderbirds game, which we will discuss because Megan attended the game. So
I was there.
We'll put a pin in that topic. But yes, so I had to be there all day because we have to do rehearsal for a couple hours, and then we get our hair and makeup done by people, and then we do more rehearsal, and then we're at the game all day. And then so I was all day Sunday doing that, and then on Tuesday I woke up and I had a sore throat, but I thought it was just from my lack of sleep and just working out too much and stuff.
Right.
And then Tuesday afternoon we got a message that one of the dancers in the team got COVID, and they caught it on Saturday.
What?
And we were together all day Sunday.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so then I was really nervous. So then I texted my best friend, Jen, and asked her if she had some COVID tests because I didn't want to go into a library in case I had COVID to get some. And luckily she had a 2-pack. So I drove out to her place and we said, "I love you" through a glass window, and I took some tests home. And I tested yesterday and it was negative. And then I tested tonight and it was negative. So
okay, good. And how are you feeling?
I feel fine.
Yeah.
I just, sometimes you wake up and your throat is just real.
Absolutely.
It didn't feel swollen. I didn't feel like I had, strep throat or something. But it was just real dry and kind of sharp back there.
Yeah. It could be the furnace as well. I find that the heat from the furnace dries my throat out really bad. So if I'm not drinking enough water before I go to bed.
I certainly don't drink enough water. That's also a problem, is that we had a photo shoot on Sunday and it was supposed to be at 2:00. So I was trying to look cute for this photo shoot. So I didn't.
With the dance team?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to eat a bunch of food and drink a bunch of water because I'll tell you right now, I have IBS. So if I eat a bunch of food and drink a bunch of water, I'm going to get a swollen belly. I just do every day of my life.
That's fair. Yeah.
That just happens. That's just my reaction to food and I can't help it. So I was like, okay, I don't want to look like I have a food baby for these pictures. But then some scheduling things happened and I couldn't get my pictures taken till after the game.
Oh no.
So then I couldn't get my pictures taken till 7:30.
Oh my gosh.
So
that sucks.
I did eat. I ate some fruit, but
yeah. Still food baby.
Yeah, I get food babies very easily. I get a very sensitive tummy.
That's not good. Well, I'm sure they still look fine.
Yes. Megan, how did you enjoy your first professional lacrosse game?
Oh my gosh, what an event. I didn't actually expect it to be what it was. It is just hype central for an hour and a half, 2 hours, however long it is. I don't even know. Time went by so fast.
It was probably a little over an hour.
A little over an hour. Okay, yeah. It was an event. There was music bumping the whole time. And I remember you saying the lacrosse players that were from that are on the Halifax team aren't all from here, but half the music that they were playing was Nova Scotian, true Scottish style type music, where I was like, interesting. I wonder if they would get hyped about this or if this is just for the
probably
audience. I'm thinking it's just for the audience, but man, it was so good. I've never been to a game of any kind where they actually play music the whole way through. The only time they stop the music is to announce something over the PA system. But during the game, the music is just playing the whole way. It's
a party.
Wild. It is a party. And you just feed off the energy there. Everybody is just so hyped through the whole thing. I'm like, this just feels like a giant party. We're at a bar and everybody's drinking,
right?
And singing songs.
Most people are.
Yeah, they were. I had to drive, so I wasn't. But I was like, I need to plan better, obviously.
Yeah.
I want to enjoy this ride for what it is. It was amazing. I had so much fun. Thank you so much, because that was just like, what a wild ride.
Megan's addicted. She's going to the next game, which is
I am.
in 2 days.
I am, yeah. I'm very excited. I want to go to all the ones that I can make anyway.
Yeah.
Season's not on for too much longer, so.
No, well, Friday's the last regular season game.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because the rest of the games, because they play away games, but then it's playoffs.
Right. Yeah, that's right. Coming to the end of the season, and I'm so sad and like kicking myself in the butt for not like getting on this sooner, because now I'm
it's
just
season tickets and nobody wanted my seats.
And
they're good seats apparently too.
Yeah. They are amazing seats.
Yeah, they're third up from the 3 rows up from the glass.
Yeah.
I didn't even know, because no one has wanted my seats all season.
Yeah, they are incredible seats. I couldn't believe it. Like, we could see everybody's face. I was looking at their tattoos that they had on their arms and their legs.
Oh, Megan's checking them out.
Well, I mean, do you blame me? Girl loves a good tattoo. Yeah, this is pretty awesome. I really, really enjoyed that.
Yay. Megan has been converted to a lacrosse fan.
I have been, officially. Yep, I'm very excited for the next game. I'm sad that I'm at the end of the season.
I know.
So I'm just getting into it now, but
you just gotta hope that they make it to playoffs.
Yeah, exactly. That's my next hope and prayer.
Well, it is time for us to resume our part 2. Unlike we lied in this the last episode, because we said we were gonna finish. We were just gonna keep recording and record our part 2. And then we looked at the time and it was very late at night, and Megan and I decided to put a pin in it. So it's actually been a week, and Megan had to wait with the rest of you.
I did. I absolutely did. Like, I actually really want to know what's going on, but I also want to go to bed.
So to recap what we covered in last week's episode, I mean, I hope I remember fine. So there was a fire at the Willingham house, and Todd, the father, was the only survivor, and his 3 little girls all unfortunately died of smoke inhalation. There was 2 investigators named Vasquez and Fogg. They did the walkthrough of the house, and they took pictures and videos and notes, and they noticed a lot of stuff that seemed pretty suspect to them, stuff that made it look like it was possibly arson and not just a house fire. They saw what they thought were those pour patterns, and just the trail of the fire made it look like somebody had poured some kind of liquid accelerant. So then where we ended was those 2 investigators plus a police officer had Todd in the interrogation room. And if you remember, they were asking him all kinds of questions. And the note that I ended on was that Vasquez had one question for Todd, and it was, did he put shoes on before leaving the house? And Todd said no. And then that was all Vasquez needed to confirm that Todd was guilty of setting the fire and killing his own babies.
Right. And then I was up in arms.
Yeah.
All hell broke loose.
So, according to Vasquez, he thinks, in his opinion, very sure that we say opinion, his opinion,
mm-hmm.
that if
allegedly,
according to him,
that's right.
If the floor had been soaked with a liquid accelerant and the fire had burned low, which is what the evidence looked like, Todd could not have run out of the house the way he had described without badly burning his feet. But he got checked out at the hospital and his feet were fine. So there was no burns to his feet whatsoever. Todd disagreed with this, and he said that when he left the house, the fire was still at the top of the walls. It wasn't on the floor. Okay. So he was able to walk through with no issues. And he had told the story about how he tried standing up and it burnt the top of his hair and his eyelashes, so he had to get down.
Were burnt. Yeah.
They were. Yes.
Singed or whatever.
Yes. Vasquez didn't believe Todd, and he theorized that Todd set the fire as he retreated out of the house, starting in the children's room and then backing into the hallway and then out the front door onto the porch. So because Vasquez and Fogg said that it looked like the fire traveled from the kid's bedroom and then took that sharp turn out into the hallway and then out onto the porch, they assumed that he must have just been walking backwards, spraying accelerant and lighting it as he went.
Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, but yeah, okay. I guess. I
can tell you're very convinced by this theory.
I mean, I don't know. It does, I guess, make sense in theory, but I just feel like, I don't know. I feel like it's a stretch.
Yeah. He needs to join that group on Facebook that's you must be a yoga teacher because wow, what a stretch.
Right. I've never heard that before. That's funny.
So Vasquez basically told Todd that his story of what happened was just a lie. He was like, you're lying. Your feet weren't burnt. So you're lying.
So therefore you are a liar.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. There's no other way that you could have got out of the house without burning your feet.
No burned feet means lies, apparently. Liar, liar, feet not on fire.
Feet not on fire. That's right. Exactly. Okay, well, let's see how this goes.
One of the issues with the theory of this being an intentional fire is that there's just no motive as to why Todd would want to kill his kids.
Right.
The children did have life insurance policies, but they were only worth a total of $15,000. And Stacy's grandfather, so the mom, Stacy, her grandfather was actually the one that bought them, and he was the beneficiary of the policies. And considering in this fire, they lost their house and all of its contents.
Right.
And they didn't have home insurance. So,
oh, really?
No. So remember, they had to get a community collection just to pay for the kid's funeral.
That's, yeah, right.
So there's no benefit. They didn't financially benefit. They actually financially kind of screwed themselves. Well, they didn't screw themselves. They're a little financially screwed.
Right.
Because they lost their house.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Right. So the authorities and Vasquez and Fogg, they didn't have a motive, really, as to why Todd would do this. But, I mean, that won't win you a court case. So they just kind of made a motive.
What?
For him.
Oh, my gosh. They obviously don't understand how evidence works.
No, isn't that what you do? You just make one?
I mean, you put the pieces together and you kind of put it together that makes sense based on the evidence. You don't just make something up that makes sense to you in your own little brain.
Yeah, we don't solve puzzles here. We make puzzles.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. And then say we've solved them because we made them in the first place.
Well, that's just the best thing ever. It's very easy to solve a puzzle you made yourself, isn't it?
Exactly.
It's my kind of puzzle.
Where all those pieces go.
Yep.
Yeah. Interesting. How does that go over in court, I wonder?
Well, they painted Todd as a man without a conscience. And all of these petty, small crimes he had committed throughout his life finally reached a breaking point, and he escalated to murder.
Wow. I feel like that is definitely a stretch.
Right? Yeah.
I can't. That does not sound... it doesn't sound anything. It sounds like he got his life together from all those petty crimes that he did, and he finally got a family to settle down with.
Happened.
Yeah, that's so sad. Paint that picture against him.
John Jackson was the assistant district attorney assigned to prosecute the case. He said he considered Todd to be an utterly sociopathic individual who deemed his children an impediment to his lifestyle.
On what grounds? Like, why would you come out with that kind of statement? Like, unless you know for a fact that this person is a sociopath. Like, geez, that's quite the harsh and escalated
right, but you're not going to get a guilty verdict unless you make him look like a loser.
And that would have only come from I'm assuming the investigative team, Vasquez and whoever, allegedly.
Correct. In their opinion. Allegedly.
In their opinion.
We're going to use that word a lot. Allegedly.
Exactly. But I can't imagine where else he would have got that. Like, do your police work.
Oh, you're going to be screaming in a minute here.
Great. Okay. All right.
So,
maybe I should just stop.
Yeah. The local district attorney, Pat Batchelor, he was quoted saying, "The children were interfering with his beer drinking and dart throwing." So he actually said that to the public, which was not
Todd
true.
said that? Or
no, the local district attorney.
Oh, sorry.
Pat
the district
Batchelor.
Attorney said that?
Mm-hmm.
Did he have proof?
No.
Okay.
He did not.
Well, I believe
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
In his opinion.
That's right. Allegedly, this is factual, according to this person.
Yes. So Todd's wife, Stacy, told the investigators this could not be farther from the truth. She said that she could never believe Todd would hurt the kids. She said they were actually spoiled rotten by him.
Aww.
But the state felt like they had a case with all of this. So on the night of January 8th, 1992, 2 weeks after the fire, Todd was riding in a car with Stacy when SWAT teams surrounded them, forcing them to the side of the road. They pulled out guns and surrounded the car and arrested Todd on the scene and charged him with murder.
You are kidding me.
No.
Come on.
Because
that is BS.
Right. Because there were multiple victims, this made him eligible for the death penalty.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Oh, that's not good. Everything seems to be stacked against him, but not with evidence. Like,
not scientifically.
Not, yeah, like, this
in their opinion, it's stacked against him.
Right. Allegedly. Oh my gosh. This is not, I am not okay with this.
Oh, you're going to be less okay.
How does it get worse?
You have no idea.
This
might be my worst case of things getting worse.
No way.
Honestly, I think it is.
Nikki, I don't know how
it will
these stories.
Get to the worstest.
Okay. All right. I'm prepping myself for it.
Yeah. Prepare. Drink your vodka over there.
I'm drinking. I'm almost done. I'm going to have to get another one soon. I brought one. I came prepared. I was like, I know I have a lot of story left and I know it's going to go. I know Nikki's going to make it a wild story because you already kind of prepped me for that last time. Yeah. So I'm ready for it.
To make things worse, after his arrest, authorities received a message from a prison inmate named Johnny Webb, who was housed in the same jail as Todd. Webb alleged that Todd had confessed to him that he took some kind of lighter fluid, squirting it around the walls and floor, and set a fire. Because we all know how reliable jailhouse snitches are.
Oh my gosh. He was put up to it.
Right.
I'm convinced.
Stacy's family actually did believe Todd was guilty, and they wanted to avoid the pain of having a trial and hearing the evidence. So they asked the DA to give Todd a plea deal. They said that if he pleaded guilty to the charges, that they would just give him life in prison and he could avoid the death penalty.
This is Stacy's family, but not Stacy's family. I assume.
Correct.
Sorry. Yeah, that's okay.
At this point, Stacy is in solidarity with Todd.
Yeah, okay. Good wife.
Yes.
That's good stand by your man.
Todd's attorneys were really happy with this deal because they were quoted saying they also thought he was guilty.
Wow.
Can you imagine your own attorneys?
Seriously?
Yeah, your own defense going into court assuming that you're just guilty.
How can a defense attorney see the quote unquote evidence and actually believe that? Like, I don't know, they must be selling and spinning webs over there because I can't imagine how they didn't see through it.
I have no idea. They encouraged Todd to take the offer, but he absolutely refused. Todd just kept telling them, I ain't gonna plead to something I didn't do, especially killing my own kids.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, not fair, but it's, that he feels that way.
Yeah. What is wild about this is that his refusal of the deal didn't make people think he was less guilty. It actually made people think he was more guilty.
How?
Because for them, this confirmed that he was a murderer with no regret and no conscience.
What?
Yeah. That's how people saw it. So, like, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
Seriously. And if he had took the plea deal, he would have been looked at as somebody who was guilty. Because he would have pled guilty. Like, wow. Oh, this is okay. Continue.
Yes. In August 1992, his trial started. The prosecution called lots of witnesses to speak to Todd's character and how he acted that day. They even had that jailhouse snitch testify. And the real damning evidence was obviously from Fogg and Vasquez, the two arson investigators. Vasquez was the only one to get on the stand. No, I don't know if that's true. Everything that I saw quoted was about Vasquez. I do not know if Fogg took the stand.
Okay, yeah.
But Vasquez most certainly got on the stand. Right. And he said it was his opinion that Todd intentionally set the fire to kill his little girls. So he said that on the stand.
Did he actually say, in my opinion?
He did. He did say, in my opinion.
He didn't say all of the evidence clearly points to. Okay. All right. Well, that right there should tell you how bad this case is going.
Right. The prosecution called 2 medical experts to testify against Todd. One was a psychologist named Tim Gregory. He was also an acquaintance of the prosecution. They would go hunting together. So, I mean, that's legit.
Besties.
Yep. He had a degree in marriage and family issues. So that's what this psychologist specialized in. He testified that Todd was a sociopath. However, this psychologist has never published any research in the field of sociopathic behavior, yet he still got to testify as an expert witness.
Did he actually, was he actually their psychologist? Was he actually someone who
he
worked with them?
Has never spoke to Todd.
What?
Ever. He has never interviewed him. Todd has never spoke to this psychologist. They've never...
You've gotta be kidding me.
Sat down for a cup of Tim Hortons. Nope.
These guys are all in collusion together, allegedly.
Allegedly. No. It is your opinion.
It is my opinion that they are in collusion together. We
can't afford to get sued, Megan.
No, I know. Why? I can't get over that. Unbelievable that he would say something like that in his opinion or whatever the case may be without ever having talked to him.
Yeah. Well, this is why they thought. So they brought a photo for the jury to see from inside the Willingham house. It was an Iron Maiden poster, and they asked Dr. Gregory to interpret it. The band poster was of a skull with a fist being punched through the skull. And Gregory said, the image displayed violence and death. They showed more pictures of music posters that they had in the house. And Gregory testified that all of these are in fire, depicting it reminds me of something like hell. And there was a Led Zeppelin picture of a falling angel. And so he said, I see there's an association many times with cultive type activities, a focus on death, dying. Many times individuals that have a lot of this type of art have interest in satanic type activities.
What year is this?
1992.
Why was it not okay to have these things in your house in 1992?
I mean, it just means you're a Satan worshiper.
Oh, obviously.
And you're in a cult of some kind. I don't know why. I don't get what cult you're in.
I have no idea.
Those are two very different things.
Right. Clearly, they don't really know what they're talking about.
No, pick a lane.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah, so all of his testimony was just based on the band posters they found in the house.
Well, if we have any listeners out there that have band posters of any of these things at home, beware. Jeez.
The other medical expert was James P. Grigson, a forensic psychiatrist. He testified so often for the prosecution in capital punishment cases that he had become known as Dr. Death. A Texas appellate judge once wrote that when he took the stand, the defendant might as well commence writing out his last will and testament.
What?
Grigson testified that Todd was an extremely severe sociopath and that no pill or treatment could help cure him.
Oh my gosh.
Again,
based on what?
This expert has never met Todd, has never spoke to Todd.
How can they make those judgments?
Because they're an expert or something.
I can't. Like, I'm sorry. I just can't wrap my head around that. That doesn't make any sense. How can you make that kind of judgment without actually speaking to the person? And maybe this happens in court cases. I don't actually know, but maybe they look at the case file and they judge based on what they've read. I have no idea, but
I mean, the first guy was a marriage and family counselor.
Right.
But he was testifying that this guy was a sociopath.
I don't get that. That doesn't make any sense. It's like they're trying to fill their arsenal with like the most powerful figures that they could think of that had literally nothing to do with the case.
Right. And a side note on this second guy, this James P. Grigson, on some of his previous cases where he helped secure a guilty verdict, they were later found to be innocent because the evidence was incorrect. And then,
what?
Yeah, 3 years after Todd's case, this guy was actually expelled from the American Psychiatric Association for violating ethics.
No way.
Yeah, the association stated that he had repeatedly arrived at a psychiatric diagnosis without first having examined the individuals in question, and for indicating while testifying in court as an expert witness that he could predict with 100% certainty that the individuals would engage in future violent acts.
Mic drop.
Right?
That is what we call justice right there.
Yes, which is
oh my god,
100% what he did for Todd. He said that Todd was an extreme sociopath and no pill or treatment could ever help cure him.
Wow.
So he did to Todd the exact thing. He got banned.
Good. I'm glad he got banned, but not...
He was expelled.
Right. But that's horrible because I'm sure that testimony was taken into account when it
was absolutely
whatever's happening to Todd now.
Yeah. So that's the kind of expert witnesses the prosecution brought to the table. The defense only called one witness for Todd. It was the family's babysitter who testified that she could not accept that Todd would have killed his children. So she was very much in the camp of Todd spoils those kids. He loves those girls. He would never, ever hurt those girls.
Who would know that better than his wife and his babysitter?
Yeah.
For real.
Todd wanted to testify, but his counsel advised against it. They thought that he wouldn't make a good witness and that the prosecution might be able to trip him up. So they told him not to.
They're already using anything and everything they can against him.
Right. The trial ended after only 2 days. The jury was out for barely an hour until they reached a unanimous verdict. What do you think it is, Megan?
I hate that I'm going to say that it's probably guilty if that's the case.
It is.
No.
Unanimous
that makes me so
verdict
mad.
of guilty and sentenced to death.
Oh my gosh. No.
We're not done.
I'm very upset about that.
We still haven't really found our crime scene whoopsie yet.
No, well,
I'm really burying the lead with this one.
You're literally going all the way around it. I can feel it's closing in, but yeah.
Stacy didn't take the stand in the actual trial, but she did in the sentencing phase, and asked that his life be spared and that he not be put on death row. When she was on the stand, the prosecution grilled her about Todd's tattoo. It was described, it's just a skull with like a serpent around it on his arm.
Oh, the most common tattoo from the 80s ever to exist.
Yes.
Okay,
and so they were grilling her about it, about why he had this specific tattoo. And her answer was, it's just a tattoo.
Yeah, good answer.
And they wouldn't, the prosecutor would not accept that. And he's like, so he just likes skulls and snakes? Is that what you're saying?
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Stacy didn't know what to say. She was just kind of like, the like quote, she kind of like, not stuttered, but she was just like, it's just a tattoo that he got.
Like, are you really asking me this question? Like, how does this have any bearing on anything that we're talking about right now?
Yeah.
Come on. Wow.
Right. So we've made it an episode and like a half, and you're like, whoa, Nikki, where's my crime scene whoopsies? What's up with that?
I've already seen a lot, actually, but
not sure proven ones.
Not proven ones. You're right. Absolutely. Yeah.
They spoke of science.
Who spoke of science?
Vasquez and Fogg. They gave reasonings for all these pore patterns and the crazed glass that had the webbing in it and the low burning things that burn hotter.
That's just their opinion. I need real science.
Well, I mean, they thought they quoted real science, allegedly.
Okay.
So now we're gonna start to get into our crime scene whoopsies.
Okay.
So cue Elizabeth Gilbert, a 47-year-old French teacher and playwright from Houston. A friend of hers who worked at an organization that opposed the death penalty had encouraged her to volunteer as a pen pal for an inmate on death row. And she was down. She decided to do it. She wanted to try something different. And, her friend really encouraged it. So she signed up for the program. She received a letter from Todd Willingham. In his first letter to her, he wrote, "If you wish to write back, I would be honored to correspond with you." He also asked if she might visit him eventually, and she agreed. She headed to the prison in Huntsville, Texas in the spring of 1999. So now it's been 7 years that Todd has been on death row.
Oh my gosh.
She described Todd as polite and grateful that she'd agreed to visit him. Initially, after his conviction, Stacy had been very vocal about trying to get him released and believed, as, his wife and mother of his children, that he was innocent. She even wrote to the governor of Texas saying, "I know him in ways that no one else does, and when it comes to our children. Therefore, I believe that there is no way he could have possibly committed this crime." But within a year of him being convicted, she had filed for divorce.
No.
So she didn't visit him.
Hard.
The only visitors he ever had were his parents that would drive down once a month to see him.
Oh, that's so sad.
Mm-hmm. Everyone very much turned against him.
That's so awful. Oh, I can't imagine.
So he was very grateful that Elizabeth came to see him. Yeah. When Elizabeth would visit, he wanted to talk about anything other than prison and death row. He'd ask her about teaching and about art because that's all stuff that she was very into. He told her he worried that he wasn't up to par with her and, that his social graces were not the greatest from being stuck in there for so long, but he genuinely enjoyed her company and he genuinely wanted her friendship. He would always make sure to decline when she offered to buy him food and drink from the vending machine because he didn't want her to think that he was using her, which is apparently something that inmates do. Okay. Is that they will use people to get stuff. But he just really wanted somebody. He just wanted a friend.
Yeah, that's fair.
When she would return to visit him, she said he seemed visibly moved that she actually came back. They continued to write each other, and they would send letters back and forth consistently. She eventually did start asking him about the fire. She assumed, like everyone else, that he was guilty. Mm-hmm. It was one of those things, you know, if somebody's guilty, you just assume they're guilty. They were convicted.
Yep.
He always maintained his innocence to her, and his story never, ever changed from his original story that he told. Mm-hmm. After getting to know him more, she was actually just curious about the case, and she went to the courthouse herself and decided to check out the trial records. Reading the eyewitness accounts, she found several inconsistencies. People,
you don't say.
Right?
Okay.
Allegedly, she found several
That's right.
inconsistencies.
In her opinion.
In her opinion. People who initially described Todd as frantic and trying to enter the house later testified in court to him doing the opposite.
I remember you saying that about the lady, I forget her name, apologies.
Buffy Barbie. No, wait.
Yes,
that
Buffy.
Was the kid. Diane Barbie was the mother.
Yes, that's right. I remember you saying that exact same thing about her and how she initially had said that, and then it changed once they got down to business in the interview
Down
process.
to business.
Down to business. Yep. Story changed.
Some statements even changed about the fire itself, originally saying that the flames and smoke were so intense that he physically couldn't get back inside, to now some people testifying that he totally could have, and when they saw it, it was just some smoke and it wasn't even that thick, and he could have just went in and got the kids.
Okay. I'm not believing that.
Father Monahan, I can't think of the word, chaplain, is that the right word?
Yeah.
That guy, his first statement about Todd being super distraught and having to restrain him. I remember he said he helped and he got the black eye and they had to handcuff him.
Yeah, right.
Well, in court, that was not the story he told. He now said in court that Todd was too emotional, and Father Monahan had a gut feeling that, he was involved with setting the fire.
Lying is a sin, Father. One, either the beginning part or the end part. One of those is a lie, and I am not okay with that. No, not okay with that.
I wonder, man, now I'm really, okay. I don't want to spoil this case.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay, I'm going to go back to you on something later. Remember that this conversation that didn't happen.
I'm heated by it, so yeah, no problem.
Okay, so this all got Elizabeth kind of invested now in figuring out if he actually was guilty. She questioned Todd on motive, and he admitted to her that he had been a sorry-ass husband. His words, not mine. And he admitted that he had hit Stacy in the past, but he was extremely regretful. He said that he had loved his children and he would never, ever hurt them.
I feel like that's not something a sociopath would say.
No.
Feel.
He said becoming a father had profoundly changed him. He stopped being a delinquent and settled down to become an adult and a father. Him and Stacy had even decided to get married just 3 months before the fire in a small ceremony. Because up until that point, they weren't married. They'd just been dating each other. But having the kids, really, he just wanted to settle down and he wanted to have a family. Mm-hmm. All of the trouble he had gotten into in the past was behind him, but the prosecution still used that to their advantage.
Of course they did.
He even pointed out information that was said in court that wasn't true. The prosecution testified about how when the windows blew out of the children's room and flames started shooting, that he seemed more concerned with saving his car, so he moved it to the end of the driveway. But the reason he moved it is because the car was directly outside of the windows and flames were shooting out of it. And he was worried it would catch on fire and explode beside the bedroom.
Right.
And so then that would destroy any chance of saving the kids from the house. That makes sense. And so he just moved it when it wasn't until the flames were literally shooting out over the car that he moved it out of the way of the flames. And he just moved it out of the way.
But it was just smoke, Nikki.
Oh, sorry. It was just, allegedly, it was just smoke.
Allegedly, it was just smoke. Oh, I hate this already. I hate it.
All of this new info, and Elizabeth was she was in it now. She was fully in it. All these discrepancies, speaking to Todd, hearing what he had to say. She was having a grimdark detective moment.
I was literally going to say that. She was having a grimdark detective moment. I love it.
Yeah. She started to reach out to people involved in the case to hear what they had to say. She even arranged to speak with his parents on one of the days they drove down to visit him. It was a 6-hour drive for them to get there.
Wow.
His parents told her they got up at 3 a.m. to make it there early enough to speak to her and still visit their son because they couldn't afford a motel and would have to drive the 6 hours back that day.
Oh my, that's so sad.
Right?
They did that obviously because they love their son, but that's really sad that they couldn't have accommodations or anything in the area.
They were grateful that Elizabeth was looking into the case. His stepmom, Eugenia, said that the night before the fire, she actually spoke with Todd on the phone. Because remember, it was 2 days before Christmas. Was it 2 days before Christmas? 2 days before Christmas Eve?
It was 2 days before Christmas, yeah.
So Todd, they were planning to go visit 2 days later. Oh, yeah, I wrote this down. Hey, Nikki, maybe just read forward like half a sentence. So she spoke on the phone with Todd, and they were planning on visiting 2 days later on Christmas Eve. So Todd was telling her about how he just picked up family photographs they had done for Christmas, and instead of mailing it, he was just going to give them to her when they came over. She said Todd seemed completely normal, and she knows him, and she would have known if something was off or if even if something was bothering him. She said she would have been able to tell.
Makes sense.
Many of the other people Elizabeth tracked down were still convinced he was guilty, but some weren't. His former probation officer said that he was one of his favorite kids and that he never showed any behaviors that he ever found concerning.
Maybe this is the problem. All of these people were not put on the stand.
The defense literally only called that babysitter.
That is the problem right there.
Because they thought he was guilty.
They should have showered the witness stand with people who were in defense of him. Like, that's literally what your job is. Whether you believe your defendant or not, your job is to
defend them.
Yeah, defend them at all costs. Like, pull every single person that you can that is in his life that had any connection with him at any point in his life in the last couple of years or even from before, and defend this man. Yeah. Like, what are you doing?
I don't know. Homegirl Elizabeth over here, though, she's not an investigator or a detective or a defense attorney, and she's doing a better job already.
Go, girl. Like, I love this.
Yeah, we love Elizabeth. She's a rock star.
Absolutely.
She even contacted a judge who had previously convicted him for stealing in his teenage years, and the judge said that he was polite and he seemed to actually genuinely care when he got in trouble. A few months before the fire, Todd had actually tracked down this probation officer and the judge because he wanted to show them pictures of Stacy and the kids and let them know he was doing really well now, to kind of show them that he had turned his life around and
got his life back together.
Right.
Oh my gosh, like the amount of work that did not go into his case is making me crazy. Right. Wow.
Elizabeth even met with Stacy, and she said that nothing was unusual the days before the fire. Todd wasn't acting differently at all. He was just completely normal. She also said that even though Vasquez claimed the space heater was in the off position when he investigated the house, she was sure that it was on that day before she left to go pick up those presents. Really? she remembered turning it down before she left, but it was on.
And did she say that in her interviews with police and
I don't know, but she wasn't on the stand, so
like it would matter if they didn't believe her. Like,
yeah. Well, that's the thing. Vasquez said it was off when he went to the house. She said that on more than one occasion, she actually caught Amber putting stuff too close to the space heater. And she said ever since that day, she has constantly had the reoccurring thought, maybe that's what happened that day.
Honestly, I will say, like, working in the amount of offices that I have worked in where there have been space heaters, they are, PSA, they are one of the highest reasons why fires get started.
Oh, yeah.
Space heaters are horrible for
especially one fires on the floor in a room with three
children,
small children.
Right? Like, I can't even imagine. I'm not saying anything about their parenting or anything like that, but like, I personally would have just shut it off or unplugged it or something when I left. Like, we can turn it back on when I get back in the house, but I personally, and this is just how I feel about those, only because of the amount of information I know about them. I also used to work in insurance, so I saw a lot of claims coming in for stuff like that. And just knowing how hazardous they are, like, be very, very careful. If you have a space heater that you use, just be very cognizant of making sure it's off when you leave the room. And oh my gosh, I 100% believe that probably could have caused the fire. 100%.
I always use one when I used to work at my office because the air condition was set to like Antarctica. And so I was always cold. And so I had a space heater on. And there was like a couple times that I would go home and I'd be on the bus on the way home and I'd be like, did I turn my space heater off? Is my office going to burn down?
A lot of offices nowadays have like the sprinkler system, so it's not as detrimental, but obviously it's still, every office I've ever worked at, ever since like way back in the day, has never allowed space heaters for that very reason.
Oh. Yeah. If they want me to get rid of my space heater, they got to turn the damn heat up.
Turn the heat up. Start to bring blankets to work. Maybe
I did. I would have like a shawl and then I would wrap it around me and then I'd have my space heater on and then I would drink hot liquids all day.
Yeah.
And I would then sometimes have to go downstairs to go outside to warm up.
I'm very lucky because I actually get to control the heat in my building.
Oh, damn.
So I can, but I also run a lot hotter than a lot of the other people that I work with. So
you're the one making it like Antarctica.
Yeah, I probably am making it a little colder. But we also have one of those older systems too that you can only turn when you set the temperature, you set when it starts to heat and you set when it starts to cool. But our system is so old that it can only do one thing at a time. It can't do heat and cold at the same time to keep it temperate. It can only do like hot until this temperature and then cold until this temperature and then hot.
That doesn't seem really very energy efficient there.
I know.
Miss, I work for a green company.
I know, but it would be so expensive to replace too, right? We're a nonprofit, so it's not easy to get that kind of funding for those kind of upgrades. But yeah, in our new building, it's better. So I don't control that heat though, because that's outside of my. But I actually found out today, I went in there today and everybody's like one of the guys I work with was like sweating. The top of his head, his hair was wet. He was sweating so bad.
Oh my
and I was
God.
I'm like, do you find it hot in here? And he's just like, yeah, it's actually really hot. He's like, it feels like it's blowing hot air on me. So I looked at the thermostat. It was set to heat at 75 degrees and cool at 82 degrees. So it was literally between 75 and 82 degrees, which is like, I don't know, 30 degrees
Oh my god, that's my ideal temperature.
Right? But he was just like dripping sweat like and the cactus. Hair was wet. Yeah. Or you would have been thriving your best life in there.
Burrito.
But yeah, like this guy was like
wrapped in tin foil and heated. So
you definitely would enjoy it there. There's a lot of sunshine that adds to the
space
heat
heaters. Dangerous. That's what we learned.
Space heaters equals bad.
Stacy sobbed to Elizabeth during this little sit down they had, and she said that she didn't think Todd did it.
That's Elizabeth, good that she stuck with that the whole time.
Right. Elizabeth even went to visit the jailhouse informant, Johnny Webb, who claimed Todd confessed to him. His story didn't really add up at all. He even said that he set the fire to cover up an injury that Stacy gave to the kids. So that was like a version of what he said Todd said.
What?
That it was like Stacy injured the kids, so then Todd burnt the house down with them in it to cover it up. But there were autopsies done on the kids, and they had literally no injuries except from the fire. So that was a lie. So then
that makes no sense.
Yeah.
Also, what is he in jail for? Is he even credible at all?
Like a million things. He's like one of those, like a career criminal.
Career criminals? Okay.
I was going to say a career jail. He's a career jail.
Oh, okay. An actual jail. How many? No, I'm not going to question.
He's filled with bars and
filled with
other
criminals.
Jail things. Handcuffs and soap on a rope.
Oh yeah, there you have it. Here we go.
All my years of watching Orange is the New Black, and that's all I could think of.
Yeah, I'm just literally thinking myself, I have no idea.
Johnny Webb also said that Todd confessed this to him as he was just walking by his cell. Like Johnny said he was walking by his cell, and then Todd was like, "Hey, I burnt down my house. I sprayed lighter fluid, and I killed my kids. What's up?" Or something like that.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Really? Is that how confessions work in jail? Really?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Mm-hmm. Not like a bro moment. Make up something that's believable. Jeez.
Yeah. A couple months after this visit, Webb sent the prosecutor a motion to recant his testimony, saying that Mr. Willingham is innocent of all charges.
No way.
But oddly enough, Todd's lawyer was never informed of this.
Oh. How come?
They just didn't tell him.
So who did he tell?
The prosecutor. Because he testified for the prosecution.
Oh,
he testified for the prosecution that Todd confessed to him. So then he sent a motion to recant to the prosecutors, and they were like, cool.
Just tuck that away.
Let me file this in the round bin.
Shredder. That's interesting.
Yes. And then not too long after that, Webb then recanted his recantation. Recantation? Recantation.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Sounds right to me.
Say with confidence. He recanted his recantation. Right. So clearly we got a really honest guy here. Real stand-up jail.
Super credible. I believe everything he says. Yeah, absolutely.
Later on, when he was being asked about all of this, he said, "It's very possible I misunderstood what Todd said. Being locked up in that little cell makes you kind of crazy. My memory is in bits and pieces. I was on a lot of medication at the time. Everyone knew that." He paused, and then he said, "The statute of limitations has run out on perjury, hasn't it?"
Oh my gosh.
So this is my guess. This is my opinion about this. My opinion is that he lied. He recanted. He realized he would be charged with perjury.
Yes.
Because that's what you get.
Exactly.
So then he recanted his recantation. Is that?
Yeah.
Is that how you say that?
I don't even know, Nikki. I have no idea.
I think it is. So that is my guess. Because then he literally said later, "When does the statute of limitations run out on perjury?"
It is recantation. You are correct.
Yes.
You have.
Hand me my law degree. Confidence.
That's right. A statement that one no longer holds a particular opinion or belief. A retraction, if you will.
Yeah. It's a recanted recantation is such a double negative.
It is. Yeah.
Things.
Well, that's literally what it is.
Another thing that was mentioned in the trial that turned out to not be a big deal was the placement of the fridge by the back door of the house.
Oh, yeah.
That wasn't a new thing right before the fire. They had 2 refrigerators, and they had an extremely small house. Remember, this house was like, the entire house, I think, what did I say, like 900 square feet or something?
Yeah, I said it was like the size of my apartment.
Yeah.
But 4 people lived in it.
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
Yeah. And it had like 2 bedrooms and a utility room. So they just had 2 refrigerators and a very small kitchen. So one of them was by the back door because it was literally the only place they could put the second fridge.
That's kind of what I thought when you first initially said that there was a fridge blocking the back door. I'm like, well, if they don't have another space for it. I don't know why I didn't ask, but I literally thought maybe they have 2 fridges.
They do. They just have 2 fridges.
So that just makes sense, yeah.
Elizabeth was starting to feel really confident that Todd was actually innocent. And that is where we're going to leave it for our part 2. And next week we will finish up with the last installment of this 3-part series. And I know we're leaving on a bit of a cliffhanger, but that's how we do. So if you want to check us out on social media, you can search the Grimdark Diaries. If you need to contact us or you want to send us story suggestions, you can email us, and we are thegrimdarkdiaries@gmail.com. It is always appreciated if you follow us on whatever podcast platform you're listening to us on. And if you're on Apple Podcasts, you can give us a 5-star rating and a comment, or on Spotify now you can give 5-star ratings, and we always appreciate if you do that. And if you screenshot that and send it to us, we are more than happy to give you a shout out. So tune in next week to listen to the final part of this story. And remember, a friend in the dark beats alone in the light.